So we're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Cameras are moving. Good.
Yeah.
It's fine. Everyone's on the same page.
So, Peter Breinholt.
Peter Breinholt.
What has he meant to your life?
What has Peter Breinholt meant to my life? It's meant everything. I mean, what does a garbage dumpster mean to your life?
I'm sorry, what?
My point is that when I look at the panoply of my life and I look across the spectrum of artists that I've worked with, people like Jethro Tull, people like Magna Carta, a band you may not be familiar with, people like Stevie Wonder, people like Whitney Houston. I think of Peter Breinholt, and I think there's a person who looked at me as, yes, a man, as, yes, a friend, as, yes, a mentor. Peter Breinholt looked at me as someone who was not just an enabler for his career, but someone who was the proprietor of his career, sort of an owner of his whole experience. So he's meant a meal ticket to me, basically. He's meant a way for me to pay the bills, more or less.
Your relationship with Peter Breinholt is you were his first manager.
Right, yes. For a very short period of time, until success actually came his way. There was a brief to-do about the money that I was due, that I felt, which he made good on. So that was all. It was fine. It was, it was a lot of money at the time. It was like $55. So but he paid it. So that was good. Davis, get away from the window. Get away from the window, Davis.
You named your dog after Clive Davis?
Oh, Miles Davis.
Miles Davis.
Miles Davis, right, that's right. The great piano player.
How does Peter Breinholt rank with the great folk singers of his time?
Well, I don't think there would be folk music without Peter Breinholt. I mean, he was the first folk singer I ever even heard. I mean, I know there was jazz, and then there was rock and roll, and then there was Peter Breinholt, and this whole folk explosion, it sort of enveloped the whole world. I mean, after Peter Breinholt, you had, folk singers like James Taylor. You had folk singers like, Jethro Tull. Pete Breinholt led to all of these sorts of people's careers. I mean, really, it was him who made it all possible.
If you were to describe his music,
It would be in terms of colours, like chartreuse, black, mixed with a little bit of yellow, some green, maybe a rainbow, maybe not a rainbow, maybe a polka dotted spring morning with ice on the trees, but the sun coming over a ridge, and then there's Peter Breinholt skipping across the meadow, right, with his little guitar and a flute. He's got a flute. In my mind, I see him with a little flute, and the little musical notes are going up, and they're singing to each other, right, and everyone else is sitting Indian style, cross-legged in the field.
Can you think of a story?
I could think of stories that would make your hair stand on end, right? But I won't tell those today, unless you want me to.
Well, sure.
One time I had sex with 4 midgets inside of a box in the hull of an airplane.
Wait, I should be...
What?
These were...
musical stories.
Yeah, it was stories that have to do with Peter Breinholt.
Oh, right. Fine. I get it. You're not just carrying on here. Peter Breinholt and I, no, he wasn't there for that episode. Well, I could tell you stories about Peter when he was young. When he was first starting out, he never thought he would win any awards. He didn't get into music to win awards or to sell records or to have people listen to his songs or to have audiences come and be interested in him. He got into music because there was nothing else for him to do. He had nowhere else to go. I met him wandering around a zoo, actually. He was just wandering around the bear cage. And I said, look, little boy... He was about, 22 at the time. And I said, little boy, what are you doing here at the bear cage? Find something to do with your life. And I handed him a little banjo. And he instantly picked it up and started playing it. And then from there, I think the rest was history. I didn't even know what sounds he was making. I knew it was music. I was there on a work release sort of a thing at the time. Managing various acts.
I mean, you must have, being on tour with Peter Breinholt.
I must have.
tell me what that's like. Like you're going out. You must have great stories.
It's like a circus. It's like have you ever played a game of Yahtzee at an old folks home, but there was a circus going on outside the old folks home during a nuclear war. And you imagine yourself riding one of the missiles heading towards that old folks home, right? That's what it's like to tour with Peter Breinholt. That's what it's like. It's like riding atop a nuclear missile heading towards an old folks home. I mean, it is insane. Look at the man. Look at his face. It's like looking into the face of anarchy itself, but in a very soft way, in a way that you might go, oh, this is, wonderful music. I think I want to sit down and just watch it and listen. Right? I'm describing a Peter Breinholt that very few people are aware of. Most people look at Peter Breinholt and they see a man that is very soft, sensitive. He can play a tune that'll just make your toes tap and your lips turn into a whistle, right? But there is a side to Peter Breinholt that very few people know of, and I've seen it, and it's exciting. It's an exciting, dangerous, severe side that I think the more, as soon as he gets a little more awards, he gets in the twilight of his career, we'll see it come back. We'll see him sort of, get a little weird, a little wild.
What do you think of this award and him receiving this award?
Well, I think the Silver Lung is an award that he's wanted for many, many years. He's talked about it with me, and he's written various emails and text messages to people. I know that winning any sort of award for him is an award. So in that sense, I put it on the wall, right? Frame it, sell it if you get in a pinch. I won a Grammy once for my work with Jethro Tull. I had to sell that, but hopefully that doesn't happen to Peter, right?
Now, the silver lung.
Silver Lung, is that the award we're talking about? Silver Lung is the silver brain, brass nose, some kind of silver something, right? It's an
organ.
It's an organ, right? He's winning an actual organ.